Alright, this is Demonocalypse with the new 6.2 update video, Common Test 2. Says Common Test 1, ignore that, it's Common Test 2. In this test, they removed the Chinese vehicles because everyone found they were overpowered and quite rip-offish, meaning there was very little work put into them. At least that was my impression of them with the time I got to test them before they were removed from the server. Was planning on doing the video this week, but just decided to do it on the American tanks that were added. This is going to be a fairly long video. I'm going to cut it up into different battle chunks. So, yeah. Anyways. Going to the tech tree. I pretty much transferred all of my mods from my 8.1 to my 8.2 common test. So that's why everything's vertical. SMG John gave me the mod for this. I thank him for that because this is a lot easier to see than that jumbled mess they had. Okay, USA. Oh, crap. I don't think this works. Because it's not on here. Yippee! Oh, frickin' A. Yeah, it's not on here. Crap. Okay. Okay, first, you start off with the M5 Stuart. Then you go to the M7 medium tank. Then you get the T21 light tank. It's not that bad. In battle, it's performed fairly well. You can either load up with the 75 M3L37, which you get from the M3 Lee, the QF 6-pounder Mark III, which you get from the M7 medium tank, the 76mm M1A1 or the M1A2, which you get from the EC8 line. I'd say it performs fairly well, like I said. Just bring up the stats here for a sec. I wish I could make this bigger, but no. 590 hit points, max load of 26 tons. You only have the one turret upgrade, so that one turret can hold all of your guns. So if you already have these ones unlocked, you can just load up with that straight away. I do not think there's any problem when it comes to weight to load up that one right away. Yes, it's only 100 kilograms, so there's no problem with that. And just the armor is crap, but it makes up for it somewhat in its speed. I mean, 56 kilometers an hour. I've regularly hit 60 with this thing, with the max engine and stuff. I think the GAN here you can also get from. It's pretty much a universal engine. I mean, you get it to T20 and you use it on a bunch of other stuff. So you can pretty much almost have all of this upgraded already, except for the tracks when you first get it. Yeah, these are all universal parts, and I love that about American tanks. Oh, my back. And like, this is a fairly good gun for it. It's a light, like I said, it's a light tank. Don't expect to bounce any rounds. But then again, the T20, you don't expect to bounce many rounds off of that either. So you're not losing much. I mean, I'd love it if they had the 90mm on there, but I can live with it because it's faster than the T20. I think the T20 is also one tier higher than it. Yes. T21 is a tier 6. T20 is a tier 7. I can live with that. And the reason why these tanks are not appearing in the tech tree is because the mod I use that was given to me by SMG John does not have these ones loaded in yet. That's why I don't have them. Next tank here is the T71, which pretty much from here on out, the best way I can describe these, at least to myself, is French tanks done right. To highlight that, just go to my garage here. This is the T71, which it looks a lot like the MX 1375, except for beefier, and that's really the best way of putting it. Same tier, the T71 sacrifices everything for speed and gun. I mean, you're fairly fast. 64.4 kilometers an hour. Traverse speed is good. Hull armor's crap. Turret armor's crap. Penetration's okay. Standard shell damage is okay. Penetration's okay. Well, actually, it's fairly good. I mean, 180 millimeters or so. And then the 1375. Well, it's it says it's trying to sacrifice everything for speed. It has speed almost comparable to T-71, but its armor is bad. Its gun isn't that good either. So I much prefer the T-71 over the MX 1375. It's a personal preference. I understand some people will have different opinions, but that's what they are, opinions. And in some way, it's an okay tank all around. I've had fairly good luck with it in many of my battles. Then you just move up to the T69 here, which has 90 millimeter. Um, Penetration on this one is actually worse than on the T71. The T71 has a 76 millimeter gun that has 175 penetration. You get a 90 millimeter gun that has 173 millimeters penetration. Personally, I feel it's worth it losing that 2 millimeters simply because the 90 millimeter can do so much damage. Reload goes in the crapper, but I believe it's worth it. And again, universal parts pretty much other than the tracks, if I remember correctly. Nope. Has an exclusive engine. Has two exclusive engines. Well, technically three. No, two. Yeah, it has these two exclusive engines, so you'll have to research through that. I can't remember what the research price for the first engine is. 9,500. Second one is 18,000. They gave us this shit ton of stuff, so it's not that bad. T54E1, built off the E1 line, I believe. Hull armor and turret armor are okay. I mean, they won't bounce anything, but there are some fairly extreme angles on them, so you may be surprised once in a while. Start off with that 90 millimeter gun with 173 millimeters of penetration. I wouldn't say it's that good of a gun again. Then you move up to a 105 with 110 millimeters standard penetration. It does not have high explosive rounds, however. I believe that could be worth it as a tier 9. I believe actually 210 millimeters of penetration is kind of low. Though I have been running into too many, I don't know what that clicking just was. Yeah, and a lot of universal parts here. Yeah, so long as you've already gotten to the tier 10 line in the American lines, then a lot of this stuff will already be unlocked. Of course, these guns are pretty much exclusive. Then they got the T57 Heavy, which is basically, well, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. It's got overall more hit points, more load, engine power. Hull armor got a slight boost, and turret armor is about the same. It's a bit more extreme angle, so you could be bouncing a little bit more off of it. Let's take a look at these models. All in all, I found them to be rather good. I mean, this one, the T71 here, well, I better start off with the T21. It looks like a T20. Let's just go out of primary and go to USA. My T20 is here. The T21 actually looks almost exactly the same. There's a slight difference in the wheels. I think that's just a laziness issue right now. They're just testing some stuff out. They should be improving the texture work and the models within the next few iterations. But the only thing that really changes is the turret, which the turret actually gets bigger and loses armor. How the heck it does that, I have no clue. But like I said, it's okay. I mean, it's exactly the same. I'm sorry. Like, in some ways, this entire patch seems to be an exercise in laziness for the developers, because a lot of stuff is recycled. The China line, once they re-release it, it's pretty much a complete rip-off of American tanks, British. I think I saw one British tank in there, but mostly Russian tanks in the later lines. I mean, they have an almost exact copy of the M5, for criminy sakes. The turret barely changes. They just wanted to throw something out there for us to throw our monies at. But I still got to test them more. Okay, moving to the T71. fairly bland actually. Two exhaust ports here. The turret has a very good up angle. Down angle's not that is not good for an American tank, but it's still fairly good for one of these elliptical turrets or whatever they're called. I can't even remember at this point. 50, I think it's either a 50 or 30 caliber. Either way, it's kind of useless at this point. But you see these bolts here? That's pretty much how far you can aim up. When these hit here, you can aim up until there. So you got a fairly good up angle, a lot better than any of the French tanks anyways, which is kind of a good bonus, I believe, with the new American line, is that it's pretty much French tanks, but improved in almost every single way. More armor, speed is better with some of the tanks, penetration is better with some of the tanks. I mean, I just gotta get more comparisons. I mean, I know someone else has put out a lot of better, more comprehensive guide than I will, but this is just my impressions, and some of you guys trust me enough to do that, so I'm being honest. Model fuck up, sinking into the ground. I guess that kind of makes sense, but not really. Okay, moving on to the T69. Oh, weapon models, yeah. This one doesn't change that much. 75, 76, 76 again. 76. Same gun as on the T21. And this is the new gun. Longer barrel increases penetration by about, what was it, 50 millimeters? 49 millimeters. No, wait, 47 millimeters. That's a good boost, and I don't care if I'm shooting less rounds a minute. I'm doing more damage and have more penetration, so it's worth it. Okay, now, let's see. M1A, the same gun as on the T71. Fairly good penetration. And then you get the downgrade in penetration, upgrade in damage here. I want to know what that hole is. For that matter, what the frick is this thing? It looks to be a gun holder, but that's a really weird angle. Swing that up, swing that around. Huh, I don't know. Okay. I'm being really schizophrenic about this model stuff, so. Okay, start off with the 90 millimeter, same gun as on this. And it's nice that the gun actually gets bigger, I think. I love it when they do this. I wish they would just copy and paste the gun barrel model over rather than trying to fit it, because if it's the same gun, the barrel should be the same. And I think it gets just a little bit bigger, but could just be me getting ornery. And like I said, there's fairly good up gun traverse on this. Just start off with the 105. And it gets a lot longer. And, yeah, pretty much these swing up, and then, well, if it was traveling. It's got that rubber neck thingy that I don't like. I have no idea if they actually animated that. Oh well, none of my business, none of my care. And this is the Big Mama. That barrel is frickin' long. So far, I've had fairly good battles with all of them. Save, actually, the T71 is fun as frick, but I've never had a good battle with it. The T54E1 as well, I haven't had a good battle with, and, like, there's no change. Like, there's barely any change between these two, but the stats change so much. Well, model-wise, anyways. Again, it just seems like an entire laziness time for the developers, because a lot of these models don't change a lot. Then again, well, they'd still start off with new models, because otherwise they just don't work out right. There's some flow lines that wouldn't work out right if you just moved them. Nice texture work on some of these, though. Some of them seem kind of bland, though. This looks more like rust than paint. It could just be me. Okay, T21. You'll start off with the 75 millimeter gun M3L37. You should have unlocked the 6 pounder as well. And if you're already at the Easy 8, as I've said before, just go up to the M1A2. I expect all of my viewers to at least have the M1A2 gun, so I'm not even going to show the other ones because